Hello, my name is Javi Martinez. I'm an ME candidate in secondary STEM for University of Southern California. These are my responses in lieu of the paper for the EDU C550 class for Dr. Maddox, and I hope you enjoy. The very first question that we were asked was, what was the learning objective for our design of our class? And it's important to understand what a learning objective is. A learning objective is a set of skills or a knowledge base that you want the students to leave with after they step outside of your classroom. Learning objectives should be SMART, and what I mean by that is the acronym SMART. Learning objectives should be specific, they should be measurable and observable, they should be attainable for target audiences within scheduled times and specific conditions, they should be relevant and results-oriented, and they should be targeted to the learner and to the desired level of learning. If you can create a SMART learning objective, you're going to have students who walk out of your classroom a little bit smarter. My learning objective for this class, Walk Seeming Complex, actually is very, very easy. There are two pieces of code in the Java programming language which I teach. There is the for loop and the while loop. During this instruction, they'll already know about the for loop and how it's written and what it does. The while loop is exactly the same, except it's written differently. I'm going to use computer technology and assistive tools to help them understand this and put it in real-world terms so they can understand when to use the while loop and when to use the for loop. But the whole objective at the end of this lesson is for them to identify that they are both the same, but written differently. As a computer science department chair, I feel that it's important to use a little bit of technology in every single class that I teach. And for this lesson, I have a smartboard, but I don't use it. In this case, I'm going to use it almost like a glorified projector. I have two tools that I'm going to use that help me facilitate the learning process. The first is a video. This video will be made by me, and what it will be done, the way it'll be edited will be into sections. So there will be an introduction part, and then various little clips that will be played after certain goals are reached. The goals are going to be on something called a web quest. And what a web quest is, it's a Web 2.0 tool that's web-based, and it presents a dilemma and has a conclusion. It also has a problem to solve, resources, and a rubric for how they're going to be graded. After they get through certain goals, and I'll be able to see this by either timing them or observing their behavior, these will be things that I will be able to see and understand and determine whether or not they're finished. They'll get to go to the next video. They're engaged in both the web quest and they're excited to see what the next segment of the video is going to be. It's going to be real world. It'll be a little humorous just to keep them involved. Computer science isn't exactly the most engaging subject. But those are the tools that I'm going to be using. A video and a web quest. Both are designed to fit within the 55-minute period that I'm going to be teaching. One thing I know about my students and the rationale of my students is that they love computer science. They're critical thinkers. To get into this class, you need to have at least an A- in honors geometry. So the abstract thinking background is there. Also, I know that they love computer science and they're interested in this field because computer science is no longer an elective at our school, or required elective. They need to take it on their own. Theoretically, a kid at our school can go all 4 years without taking a computer science class. So they're in here because they want to be in here. I have 7 boys and 1 girl. I highlight nobody. All of them come prepared every single day for class, ready to learn. And the average range of grades in the class is from 93% to 98%. They're very interested in this field. The tools that I used, the WebQuest 2.0 and the video for the class, we're using this way. The students come in and I immediately partner them in groups of 3. I have the video prepared already just in case, and off to the side on a whiteboard I have the link to the WebQuest. When everybody's settled down, I immediately just start playing the video. The introduction to the video is only about 2 to 3 minutes. It's nothing too huge. It's just something that presents a dilemma and gets them thinking. I reintroduce the for loop, then I introduce the while loop, and I give real-world examples of how it's used, and then I give this dilemma. You have to finish the web quest. in this amount of time, otherwise something is going to happen. That type of problem. And then what I do is I introduce them to the web quest. They all log on together and they are told to read the introduction. Now they're at the bottom of every page there's a time limit. They're given 5 minutes to look at the introduction. After 5 minutes, I play the second clip of the video, telling them this, and this, kind of just whether it's just an engagement, something they can look at, saying, okay, now go on to this, because this is going to be exciting. It then leads them through the web quest. So it's basically working one-in-one, hand-in-hand with each other. They will then go on to the problem, they will go on to the references page, they will take a look at their rubric, and they'll take a look at their conclusion and what they should know after leaving this web quest while being guided by the video. They work hand-in-hand with each other. I expect students to be completely engaged in this entire process. They're constantly moving their eyes. They're moving from the screen to their paper where they're writing down their notes, to another computer where they're actually coding, and then they get a little bit of a break because they get to look at the video, have a little bit of comic relief per se, and just enjoy the learning process. They have their peers there who they can rely on, and there's assessment going on at every step of the way. Did they do this? If so, they're allowed to turn to the next page. They have to complete this step before they get to the next step. So they tie in hand to hand with each other. I've done this before, and the students' response is very, very high. They love it. It's expected almost every class. And then even 2 months later, oh, we're going to do a video and a web quest again. When's the next web quest? When's the next video? There's a lot of excitement. I've noticed that the next day quizzes, the scores are consistently high. The downside to this type of a learning module is that it takes a significant amount of time to prep for just one class. The hours that it takes to edit the video and to get it right and time it just right, and then the web quest itself is an entire process, and it takes an absolute long time. That's the downside. The positive side, the upside, is that the students really learn. They really get engaged. They love using the technology tools. It does facilitate learning. In teaching this class before, one of the things that I've learned is you just can't get rid of the classroom interaction experience. Technology is great. We're doing an online program. I'm able to interact with my peers in ways that even 4 or 5 years ago wasn't even imaginable. It was, maybe theoretically, who knows, but it's just amazing what we're doing. But nothing beats that social interaction of the classroom. The kids all there working together, that collaborative process. Yeah, we have breakout groups, but it's just there's nothing, just quite like that person being in your face expecting those results. The web quest and the video are great technology, and they help facilitate the learning, and my students leave my class with learning objective accomplished. But that human interaction element, that they're here, I'm walking around, I'm a guide to them, I'm facilitating, I can go straight from here to here to here and give them that personalized attention. It's just a little bit different than what you would get in, say, this Rossier environment. And that's what I think I've learned so far. Technology does facilitate the learning process more effectively than old school methods. That's my belief. I'm a computer science chair, so maybe I'm stubborn in that way. But again, you just can't get rid of that human interaction. I don't think that if I did this project remotely, I would get the same results or the same enthusiasm as I would have where I have the kids in the classroom. Those are the conclusions for my answers. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that my objectives have